बातें कर रहे हैं दिल से। मैं आपका दोस्त, आपका अजीज सुशील।
Most of the poets and lyricists are philosophers. In fact, I believe that if you listen to these songs, English songs, Marathi songs, Hindi songs, Sindhi songs, Punjabi songs, if you listen to the good poets, good lyricists, they are philosophers, great philosophers. For example, Shelley wrote these lines in his time. He said, our sweetest songs are those that tell of our saddest thought. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of our saddest thought. The same thing was expressed in a beautiful way by a Hindi lyricist. He said, हैं सबसे मधुर वो गीत जिन्हें हम दर्द के सुर में गाते हैं। हैं सबसे मधुर वो गीत जिन्हें हम दर्द के सुर में गाते हैं, जब हद से गुजर जाती है खुशी। जब हद से गुजर जाती है खुशी, आंसू भी छलकते आते हैं। हैं सबसे मधुर वो गीत जिन्हें हम दर्द के सुर में गाते हैं। Our sweetest songs are those that tell of our saddest thought. One of the poets said, जब गम का अंधेरा घिराए समझो कि सवेरा दूर नहीं। जब गम का अंधेरा घिराए समझो कि सवेरा दूर नहीं। हर रात का है पैगाम यही, हर रात का है पैगाम यही, तारे भी यही दोहराते हैं। हैं सबसे मधुर वो गीत जिन्हें हम दर्द के सुर में गाते हैं। There's another poet who says, लम्हों के पास आते आते, लम्हों के पास आते आते, फिसलते लम्हों को छूते छूते जिंदगी निकल जाती है। जिंदगी के पास आते आते, लम्हों के पास आते आते, फिसलते लम्हों को छूते छूते जिंदगी निकल जाती है। जिंदगी के पास आते आते, क्यों हम खोए लम्हों में खोए खोए रहते हैं। अनजान लम्हों के सपने क्यों हम बुनते रहते हैं। बरसता लम्हा लम्हा, लम्हा लम्हा चूम लो, सिमट जा तू इन लम्हों में, या लम्हों को खुद में सिमट लो। कारवां ओझल लम्हों का जिंदगी ढूंढती रहती है। कारवां ओझल लम्हों का जिंदगी ढूंढती रहती है। अनदेखे लम्हों की ख्वाहिशें कफन बांधे फिरती हैं। फिजाओं में हवाओं में, फिजाओं में हवाओं में, पल पल है बिखरा हुआ पीले पीले जीले पल तेरा, जो तुझ में ही समाया हुआ। All the poets, all the lyricists, good lyricists, are philosophers. Now I want to share this story with you. It's a beautiful story and it has a strong message to give all of us, you, me, all of us included. There was this king, very powerful king. He was actually an emperor, Emperor Ugsen. He had conquered all the countries that surrounded his own. He had commanded respect. He had practically made every other country his slave. I mean, all the countries were owned by him, and all the kings over there were running it at his command. And he had amassed a lot of wealth. It was said that the kind of jewelry, the kind of diamonds, kind of stones, the pearls and whatever, all that was so huge that it was larger than the Himalaya mountains. That's the kind of wealth he had. He had conquered most of the countries around his country, and he had everything. He was a very, very powerful king. And he had a lot of wives and a lot of children, a lot of them. Now when he was 100 years old, the god of death came to him. And he said, Samrat Hussain, it's time for you to go. अब तुम्हारा समय आ गया है यहाँ से जाने का. Samrat Hussain looks at him, gives him a very hard look. He said, to go now? I have not achieved much. I haven't done much. I have a lot of plans, a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of ambitions to fulfill. It's too early to go. The god of death, Yamdut, looks at him and says, okay, there's one way I can let you be on earth, I can let you live. If one of your sons agrees to go with me, well, what happens then? What do you think happens after that? Think for a while, friends. What happens? Does any one of his sons agree to go in his place with God of Death? Well, most of them say no, of course. But one of these sons, the youngest son, he says, yes, I would go with the God of Death. I will go in my father's place, the king's place. He says, look, if my father, after living 100 years and conquering so many countries and amassing such a lot of wealth, isn't happy, what am I going to achieve anyway in this life? Let me go. And he goes away. And God gets to live another 100 years. Now, the God of Death comes only once in 100 years. So after the king completes 200 years of his age, the God of Death comes to him again and says it's time for him to go. The king says, look, it's too early. I still have not achieved much of my ambitions. I have yet to achieve a lot of my dreams. I have to amass a lot more wealth. And the God of Death smiles and says, okay, fine. If one of your sons goes with me, no problem. I'll take him in your place. And then one of his sons says, fine, it's time to go, instead of the king. So this happens year after year, century after century, till the king is 985 years old. 985, that's the age of the king, the emperor. But by this time, after having lived 985 years, none of his family members survived. All his wives, all his children, all his grandchildren, nobody is around him. He's all by himself. There's nobody around him. And the paradox of the whole thing is, the emperor is all alone, 985 years, such a lot of wealth. He's all alone, lonely, and he wants to die now. वो मरना चाहते हैं. He wants to die. But, well, the God of Death comes in only once in 100 years. That means now he has to be 1000 years. He has to complete his 100 years of the 10th century for the God of Death to come. And then from 985 years to those 15 years that he has compulsorily, unavoidably to live, he lives through enormous suffering, enormous anguish, enormous torture. He's all just by himself, lonely, isolated, nobody to talk to. And he's waiting for his death, practically waiting for his death. So when he's 1000 years old, finally the God of Death comes. He says to the emperor, says, Emperor, are you ready to go? Emperor Uksen, I hope you lived your life, or you fulfilled all your life, or your ambitions. Of course, the king or the emperor Uksen is all eager to leave now. He wants to die. He wants to go out of death. That's when God of Death asked the emperor a simple question. Emperor Uksen, tell me, why and for whom did you achieve all this? There are tears in emperor's eyes. सम्राट की आंखों में आंसू आ जाते हैं. किस लिए जीते हैं हम? किसके लिए जीते हैं? किस लिए जीते हैं हम? किसके लिए जीते हैं? बारहा ऐसे सवाल पे रोना आया. कभी खुद पे, कभी हालात पे रोना आया. The king gets up, tears in his eyes, and puts his hand forward to the God of Death and leaves with the king. My dear friends, Emperor Uksen lived 1000 years with such a lot of wealth. Finally, the question that he had to ask himself was, किस लिए जीते हैं हम? किस लिए जीते हैं हम, किसके लिए जीते हैं, बारहा ऐसे सवाल पे रोना आया, कभी खुद पे कभी हालात पे रोना आया. It's all about, see, wealth, money. Money by itself has no value. When you share your money, money gets value. And who loves you? Your dear ones, those who love you, are the ones make your life worth living. That's what the Emperor Uksen realized.
दोस्तों, हमेशा अपने दिल की बात सुनो, क्योंकि दिल आखिर दिल है, दिल आपका आईना है. अपने दोस्त, अपने अजीज सुशील गजवानी को इजाजत दीजिए. गुड नाइट, शुभ रात्रि, शब खैर.